This Steam Grand Prix tells me I gotta go fast, but I'm just lost.
Just nerf it.
Decibel level over 9,000.
Nice.
Man, that would be really, really loud.
I don't think you could physically hear it. Your ears would explode long before you got there.
I'm pretty sure most of the rest of you would too.
Yeah, you'd be super dead.
Is that like an ultra brown note?
I mean, it's some kind of note.
Speaking of notes, that's a good note for starting off episode 162 of We Were Gamers. Welcome back, JJ.
Hello.
And Michael.
It's good to be back.
I'm Andy. This is a podcast where we talk about games because we don't have time to play them. We're here for you to tell you what we like to spend time on. Yeah, that's it. Basically, right?
That sounds good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Michael, at one point when he joined this show, had an amazing version of the intro where he kind of like explained it in one sentence. I have since lost that. So I've been trying to find it ever since. Mentally,
I don't remember
not
what
physically.
Episode that was.
Oh, what a fun weekend. We just wrapped up SGDQ, Summer Games Done Quick, the Speedrun Marathon, where a bunch of people from around the globe, in fact, play games as fast as they humanly can, or in some cases, slow walk games that they should be running fast so that they can meet donation incentives. It's a donation charity run. I watched more of this one than I actually think I've watched of any of them. Is that true for any of you?
Probably not of any, but I definitely watched more of this one than I have of the last couple.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that I feel like some of the early years I watched literally every minute of some of them, but definitely I watched quite a bit more of this than I feel like I have the last couple of these.
Wow. Any of them? Like every minute? That's 7 days.
Well, they weren't 7 days back then.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was
That's
like
true.
a weekend or whatever. And yeah.
I don't know why I feel this way, but I watched a lot of AGDQ, but I feel like especially this year with AGDQ and right now with summer, not only did they bring in a lot of new games, they brought back the greatest hits immediately without like doing a lot of filler. They found a lot of interesting, fun games they haven't played before, like some of the Looney Tunes games randomly. And then also a lot of randomizer runs. We'll explain that in a minute. And ROM hacks and other cool stuff from the kind of like fringes of the community have shown up too. And
Kaizo, yeah.
Kaizo, yeah. Which is a shorthand for Super Mario ROM hacks that are extremely stupidly hard. And I like to watch but would never play. AKA Mario Maker 2.
Yeah.
I don't know, but for some reason, not only did they shatter fundraising records for themselves and also Doctors Without Borders by raising over $3 million in a week. I thought this is maybe the best one I've ever seen.
Everything came together right for this one. I don't know what it was, but the involvement of the crowd, the scheduling I thought was great this year, just start to finish.
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, perfect scheduling. I know, JJ, maybe you don't get a kick out of some of the RPG runs that much, but I do get a little happy when they're kind of near the end because people are really into them, which means the stream is really fun to watch at the end. Not only because they're raising tons of money, but like it's almost like traditional runs, like Chrono Trigger ended this one, so a lot of people knew what to expect and they were there for it, you know?
Totally. And I'm for that. It is fun when the streamer is having fun and when the people watching are all having fun. I just don't enjoy the fact that those moments of fun get spaced out over 6 hours when they could finish it with, something like Metroid or a game that's faster and also fun, right? they did that. I really enjoyed the randomizer Metroid Mario or Metroid and Link to the Past crossover weirdness that they had this year. I think that was a great one. And several of those Kaizo style Mario hacks that they had were really, really fun to watch also. Did you guys catch any of those?
Yes. So I watched the race, the blind ROM hack relay race.
Oh yeah,
which was just and it was incredibly well put together, the game itself, and then entertaining for every single round of it.
Yeah, and the levels were all like weird puzzle and execution focused kind of things, and then also like this strange blend of just like, what do you do here?
Yeah.
You just like, walk into this random room and it's like barriers on all sides and you have to find a way to squeeze a shell through this little gap to hit a button to start a whole chain of events or whatever.
The button that turned the room upside down and you had to figure out how to drop a key from the top to the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, so cool.
Sometimes in those I feel like it's a little bit difficult for people to connect to them that don't play them because there's a lot of inside jokes and a lot of internal practice. And while you can appreciate like, oh, okay, that button's hard to hit, for somebody that would play it from the outside, you're like, oh, I would just get frustrated because I wouldn't know that there's a secret door here or like a hidden button or whatever that the runners know because they either programmed it or whatever. So it's kind of a little bit clicky. But what's not clicky, I think that it kind of falls into that category, are the randomizers, where the game is still the game, but like all shuffled up. So yeah, Link to the Past or whatever. Maybe for me more impressive was the Link to the Past and Super Metroid game put together as a like collaborative / race thing, where I thought not only was the couch, aka the commentators, amazing for that one. That was maybe one of the most fun runs from the commentating perspective, and also fundraising. Like they found a lot of ways to bring in a lot of money during that run, but also like watching games that sometimes get a little bit stale at these events become almost brand new because you're like, what is happening? Why is Samus finding the mirror shield in, that sort of stuff? How do you guys feel about randomizer runs?
So I've enjoyed the randomizer stuff. I think in particular the Link to the Past Metroid randomizer crossover, I actually dislike a little bit because it crosses over like that and it requires you to be very familiar with both games in a way that you're like, oh, okay, I got the mirror shield here with Samus. Now I can go back through the portal or whatever and play as a Link and use the mirror shield to do whatever. And it just like it hurts my head a little too much and kind of brings me out of like the fun of watching the teams compete. It's interesting to watch, but the race part of it sort of, I feel, I don't know, I don't feel like it makes a good race because it's so hard to track who's winning until it gets down to the end and you've sort of seen where all the various paths can go, and then everyone is racing for the last couple progression items or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they all hit. It was an interesting the way they set it up. They kept saying that it wasn't a race because they were informing each other. The two runners were informing each other back and forth the whole way through of where they were finding different items. So like, I found the hook shot here, or I found the ice beam there, so that they would have an idea of where to go. And they both together get through the run faster, but at a certain point they hit what's the phrase they use in all these, go mode.
Yeah
Right, for when you found all the items you need to get to the end game, in this case of both games, and then it becomes a race.
Yeah, I think the thing that, and I'm sure they do that because these randomizer runs can be so ridiculous and you can just get blocked for so long, like not knowing where something is. Right. You really need, like, oh, you need the boots or whatever in Link to the Past to progress here. I'm just making stuff up. I forget what the progression items are in that game. But, then it's like, oh, you needed to go down here and over there in Super Metroid. And if you didn't think to do that and you were looking for something else and like you got an E-tank instead of what you needed or whatever. So like they probably did that in order to make it like acceptable at the marathon, I would imagine.
Right.
Because I guess if you would do it by yourself and not share information, it could take like 2 hours or something if you're just like wandering around being like, I need the silver arrows or whatever,
Yeah, and I know. So for me, it might have been a little different perspective because I know The Legend of Zelda well enough to play the randomizer through myself, and I'm mostly familiar enough with Metroid to know some of the routing. So for me, it was cool to see the two and to mostly be able to keep up with they got this, that means they can now open up that.
Yeah, I think that's where I fell off on it because I know I've played Zelda like several times, but not enough to know like, do I need the bombs here or the hook shot or whatever? And then I also don't know Metroid that well either. So then it's just like they're getting random stuff that lets them do, I don't know, and they're playing a game like that is just some weird alien thing to me. Whereas,
right,
like the Mario hacks, I know that you can jump off a shell in midair. It's impossible for me to do that. But I know it's possible, and I'm like, oh, you could probably like find some crazy way to jump off a thing to go over there.
Maybe it just comes down to what you were most familiar with.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And one thing I did want to say, Andy, to one of the points that you were making about the Kaizo hacks is they do, and they adopted this from the Mario Maker community. They give you context clues for things that you need to do, and they touched on it briefly during the run, but they'll put certain items in place like different colored coins to signify that you have to use a different kind of jump for your next jump. So like blue coins mean you have to use a spin jump.
Okay.
So you were saying
right.
that you didn't know, you didn't really know how to get through it, but they build in, for people who aren't as familiar as these top level players, they build in clues that you sort of learn as you play more of these kinds of levels.
And one of the things that I found interesting, I've started following a couple of these Kaizo creators and runners on Twitch and stuff, is that when you I'm especially thinking of Grand Poo World 2, which is one of the hacks that they ran at the SGDQ. Great run. People should go watch that. It was a lot of fun. But the beginning of that hack teaches you stuff in like the beginning of each world. It's essentially like it's an entire Super Mario World conversion. Essentially, It has a whole bunch of stages in each level, themed levels and stuff. And they teach you stuff in the early levels that you then have to use in later levels. Not necessarily like, you learn here and then you use in the next level. It might be several levels, but they kind of like they introduce it in a more gentle way, and then they get to the really messed up stuff that uses those mechanics later, right? So it does progress, even if it's hard to see that progression from the outside. And I didn't really get that watching the speedrun even. I didn't find that out until I started listening to them talk on Twitch.
Okay, cool. Did you guys have any like standout favorites? It could be something we've already talked about, maybe with these randomizers, or just a straight run or something.
Yeah, I definitely think the Grand Poo World 2 run is my favorite one. That
right.
Mario hack, Mitch Flower Power, very fun.
Cool.
Mine would probably be a split between that Blind World ROM hack, just because of the sheer skill of Super Mario World style platforming, and the Link to the Past Super Metroid randomizer, just because for me, it's two games that I'm so familiar with.
Perfect. I think it's that randomizer run, but because the one that I was mentioning with Link to the Past and Super Metroid, my brain, I watched too much speedrunning.
That was a cool race. It's just I didn't know what I was watching.
Yeah, but it's also too long. Like I was entertained because I found the streamers entertaining. Especially the back couch people were very entertaining. And that's kind of almost what I'm there for more than anything. I think it's something that gets overlooked. You could watch these on mute and still really enjoy it, but at the same time, part of the event is the event and the people in it and the room. So either the end of the entire event where they went from like 2.7 million to 3 million in an hour, I would say that's people should find the Chrono Trigger run and watch that last hour of the stream or so, and really get a feel for like what it must be like in person to raise that amount of money for charity too. That one really, because it's at the end, probably is a standout. And I was kind of really enamored with the Pokemon Let's Go run also. It's a silly game to watch. I'm glad I only saw it for like an hour, but I don't know, something about it was like really, really funny and cool and interesting.
Did they, I know you mentioned it in our group chat, did they set the world record?
They, yeah, I think they did by like 8 minutes, but only because they picked Eevee as the starter, which was a donation incentive.
Interesting.
I guess he can get a psychic power that they can use to kind of cheat the rest of the game a little bit.
The chat actually donated for the thing that was faster. That has to be a world first.
When it comes to Pokemon, they may have just voted for what they thought was cuter, and I object as a long-time Pokemon. Well, not long time, I guess. As a throwback Pokemon player, Pikachu might be better than Eevee, but Eevee has become its own thing now. Now that it has
like Eevee, man.
Well, now that it has 2 more evolutions from Gen 4. Oh, we kind of have to talk about Pokemon. Is this a good transition away from SGDQ, or should we talk about it more?
No,
I think we hit the highlights.
All right, I have some Pokemon stuff to talk about. So, I did a Pokemon thing this past weekend that maybe we should talk about for a second. I know you're kind of bored maybe of me talking about Pokemon Go so much.
I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about yet, so I can't tell if I'm bored of it yet.
So they didn't used to have raids in the game back when we maybe tested it out in 2016, and then everyone was kind of bored. And not only do they have those raids now where you can kind of get together with up to 20 people and fight a very strong version of a Pokemon, like 10 or 15 times as strong as they should be, sort of thing. They have what they call community weekends, and they do them a lot during the summer. And this community weekend, they had raids at all the the gyms had raids from 4 to 7. Like, no matter what, every single one, 4 to 7 raids.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And so people get together in these, like, really populated areas, like the Spectrum near us, which is a huge shopping mall. A lot of those outdoor places where you can walk to a bunch of different gyms. And they all go play the game together because you're likely to find a raid and be able to battle, whatever special Pokemon they put in that raid weekend. So I went to try one of these out, and it was more fun than I expected. Because really, honestly, we were done in about 45 minutes. Like, it wasn't a problem to find a group for any of these things. You just walked up and hit the entry lobby. Other people saw you hit the entry lobby, and they joined the lobby. And then you did your little Pokemon battle, and people got really into whether they got a shiny thing or not. And that was it. And you got a bunch of items for doing it. And I had a good time with a few people, Ryan being one of them, because he plays that game. And I expected it to be kind of lame, I have to admit. Like, I thought I was going to come on the podcast and be like, guys, this community thing, it saved me from playing Pokemon Go.
Not doing it.
Right? Like, oh, okay. The raid battles are basically impossible anyway, so I'm not into it, and like there's no way to go further, and the game is gated, and it's time to quit Pokemon Go again. And instead I came away with the opposite opinion, especially hearing some stuff about this new Harry Potter game, which I'm curious if Michael's going to play, being very into Harry Potter, which Niantic also makes. Which people are saying is kind of like Pokemon Go with more stuff to do. And I kind of realized Pokemon Go currently has the right amount of stuff to do. You can go do the super fancy weekend event thing. You can maybe, if you happen onto a raid during the week that you can like organize or whatever, do it. But also, I don't ever think I'll be paying money for the game. And that's a good feeling in today's world, maybe. I don't know. It was kind of weird, but also kind of awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people playing the new Harry Potter game. I haven't quite been tempted into signing up for it myself, though.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured that was up your alley in terms of like Harry Potter free to play on the phone. Seems like there's a lot to do.
I know some people that have been playing it, and they seem like they like it, but also they seem like they are constantly having to like do stuff in it, which then gives me the feeling that it's like one of those games where you got to constantly be on it, you know?
Yeah.
I can't just tell if they're like really obsessed or they're just like they're getting into the game, you know?
I think maybe that's what I like about the Pokemon so much, is that like after we tried to play Fire Emblem, and it had that stuff where you had to be on there every 20 minutes or whatever, like just Pokemon just doesn't have that. And that's such a weird feeling to be like, I'm bored and waiting for people at this place, so I will pull out the Pokemon and see if there's anything near here. Or like, I know there's stuff near here and I'm not doing anything, so I will do the thing. But also don't have to feel like everywhere I go I have to pull it out and like check and see and whatever, you know?
I feel like Fire Emblem was a lot more like you had to log in every day and play for a couple hours, just like always. Otherwise, you would miss out on free stuff.
Right.
Pokemon, I didn't feel like had that, and it sounds like the Harry Potter has a little more of it, but not quite all the way to like Fire Emblem level. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good in the long run, but it certainly hasn't tempted me. That's for sure. So,
well, I know it probably won't tempt you guys, but like, it's doing its job, and now I want to play a Pokemon game for real. I didn't have much more time than trying out that community thing or watching SGDQ runs, but I know you guys probably have been playing a little bit of something else.
There's actually a really good segue here before we do that, talking about games that are free to play and really want you to log in every day.
Did I miss something? Is something happening in another game that's free to play?
Yeah, they have overhauled Magic the Gathering Arena to include login bonuses and free-to-play and account leveling.
Oh my god, I'm glad you brought this up, because there's something that's been happening in Magic Arena that I'm really pissed you didn't tell me about.
Oh?
This is now, they're doing like part 5 of some sort of huge story arc of something.
Yeah, they've been telling the story of War to the Spark, or War of the Spark.
And you also got, like, stained glass versions of all the cards. What is this? I don't understand this. What are card styles, and why did no one tell me there were...
Card styles are cosmetics.
Okay, so cosmetics for cards?
Yes.
Do you have to have one for each card?
No.
Okay.
You get the style for as many copies of the card as you have. If you have no copies, then the style is worthless.
Okay, I see. And these ones look like stained glass, and they were part of a story thing that I would love to have taken part in.
I think part 5 is still on if you log in right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have they said whether they're going to bring back the 1 through 4 parts?
Yeah, that's going to be a no.
Oh, really?
They're not going to do it seems.
Oh, no. What about people that missed 1 through 4?
YouTube.
Hey, there's this thing called your credit card.
I see.
Which you can use to buy gems, and then you can buy anything with gems.
I see.
Also, for the new upcoming set, they are overhauling the way their progression and stuff works. If you remember the new player experience in Magic the Gathering, you kind of gained some levels for a while.
You get an orb to follow around, and then get cards that you probably already have.
Orb.
Yes. Orb. Well, I hope you liked that, because they're going to be releasing a new leveling tree with every standard set now. Starting with the newest set, Magic 20. And there will be a new tree and new levels to gain, free for everyone up to a certain level, or you can pay and get access to higher tiers of rewards for those levels.
When is the Magic 2020 happening?
Like 2 days from now.
Oh. Didn't they just release an expansion?
In like 3 months ago or so now. 4 months maybe.
What?
3.5 months.
Man, it doesn't feel like I've been away from that game that long.
They do 4 a year, so I think that's
every 3 months.
They're on track.
Makes sense, yeah.
Or 3.5 or something.
How are you?
Yeah.
I assume you play this basically daily or weekly, if not daily.
I definitely try to play it daily, but obviously I don't always. And I think the unfortunate thing is the way they have changed their rewards with this new system. The previous way was for every 15 wins you got a week, or sorry, every 5 wins you got up to 15 in a week, you were rewarded with packs, right? So like you get 5 wins, you get a pack, 5 more wins, another pack, 5 more wins, third pack every week. Just, get them whenever you want. Play them all at once, get them in one day. If you win a bunch, great. Or play them a day, a game here, a game there over the course of the week and get it done. Well, this new system requires you to be logging in every day in order to gain levels to get the packs. And the levels, it seems you only get up to like 100 or 200 experience per day from wins, and the rest is, completing your daily quests. So there's no chance to come in at the end of the week and do it all at once on the weekend. No, you've now missed 5 days worth of logging in or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so that's a pretty uncool change, I think. And there's no way to like Hearthstone where you could log in and bank up your quests. You can do that to some extent, but you can't bank up that experience you get from wins every day. Whereas before you were able to, the thing you'd be losing is the ability to like earn extra gold or whatever every day. And like, well, okay, I don't care about the extra gold, but the packs I care about, and those are gone now.
Oh no.
So
that's actually less incentive. I was kind of like hoping I could get in there and play that last section, and then maybe they'd bring those cards back or something, because those looked really cool, and I like playing story mode stuff.
It's not a story mode. You still have to play against other humans.
Oh, I thought it was a story mode.
No, dude. No. It's PvP, but like with weird rule sets.
Oh, I don't want that. Never mind.
So they did one. It's like, hey, build one only using cards from these 2 expansions, play one where all the counters are doubled every time you put a counter of anything on, or
undo
that kind of stuff. There's no player versus environment in this game. It's all PvP. You got to play Magic against humans.
Oh, PvE stuff is cool with cards. I guess I'll just go back to playing Slay the Spire.
Or Hearthstone. There's a bunch of Hearthstone adventure content that's really good these days, too.
That's true. I just have the gold for that because I've been playing. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If they bring in earning card backs you've missed, I'd probably play again.
There's also a new Hearthstone expansion that was just announced literally the day we're recording this. And how do y'all feel about Reno Jackson? He's back.
So Michael has no opinion about Reno Jackson.
But I've heard much about you guys' opinions on Reno Jackson and the wide gulf that separates the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, no one knows what the card will do, but the character is back because they brought back the.
Oh well, I'm fine with the guy. The guy had great PvE stuff to do.
Yeah. So he and the League, including the Murloc and the Elf Lady and the other one, are all back. So.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay,
it was just too perfect of a segue from free-to-play stuff. So
yeah, no, I think you're right. Free-to-play is free-to-play. But sounds like maybe Pokemon has figured their direction out, which is like, keep the game simple, mostly for kids. Yeah, you can, quote-unquote, pay to win, but really, honestly, you don't gain that much advantage. Like, I've been playing for I've been talking about this for maybe a month now, and I have a bunch of Pokemon that are plenty strong for taking over gyms. I get if I want to and find a gym to put my stuff in, then I get my daily cash amount total. So really the only benefit is for people that really want to do well. They have like 2 accounts and they could pay money, but like they really don't have that significant of an advantage over people other than looking at their shiny stuff in their collection. And other games like Magic and Hearthstone in the past kind of drifted into the like, we need to make more money, make people log in more so they'll pay money for stuff.
Pay to win.
Well, yeah. Or pay to not have to do the daily stuff.
Yeah, that's my worry about this new system with Magic. Hearthstone seems to have kind of kept the till relatively level, but have increased their pace of like adding new cards, which is both good and bad. Yeah. Magic has always just been a little more expensive than I think is feasible unless you're playing a ton.
Well, they've definitely brought over their what would you call it? Their market strategy, maybe, from the paper cards, right? It's not a cheap game compared to a lot of the games we played. You got to get a lot of the cards, and they don't offer that many more per pack.
Yeah. The nice thing with Magic is that you can kind of build, like, focus in on one deck at the beginning. You'll make it by, like, you know, a month or two into that, and then just play that one deck for the entire expansion, and then don't deviate.
Well, thankfully, the meta is much more forgiving in that way, right?
Yeah, because you can play janky stuff, and you'll just lose your way down the ladder until you play other people who are also playing janky stuff, and then it's, you know, fun again.
Well, the ladder matters much less than in Hearthstone in terms of what you're getting out of the play, and you know, you can't play janky stuff even at the bottom of the Hearthstone ladder because everyone everywhere plays the meta decks, right? So
yeah,
just depends on how well they play them. All right, we delayed it long enough, and you're going to have to talk more with Michael about a game I want to hear about, Castlevania, because it's not Castlevania, it's called something else, Bloodstained Ritual of the Castlevania.
Almost. You were
tried.
Almost there.
I have a comment here. The Switch reviews for this game on Amazon are not good.
It sounds like with good reason.
Okay. Not good reason that you have discovered, or good reason that you have discovered? Tell me. Okay, wait, back up.
Andrew, hold on.
Okay.
Michael, what's the actual name of the game?
It is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Okay,
Braun.
now your question.
Literally Braun.
Okay, he didn't have a question.
Wait, did I have a question?
I don't know. You stopped to tell us an acronym that no one cares about.
Time out.
Got him.
Time out. Take it easy over there. I didn't mean to insult your Kickstarter. I know it's very near and dear to you Castlevania people's hearts that this guy made another game. Be honest.
And it's a really good game.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
he made a very good game.
All right.
Yeah, this game is rad.
Are you happy that he killed everyone off from the previous game?
Huh?
It seems that many of the names in the game are people that, like Richter and Simon, that you have discovered are dead.
So in the fiction of this game, like, there are inside jokes to the idea of Castlevania characters that are dead because a bunch of villagers in a town were killed, and they all were named names of previous Castlevania characters. However, in the fiction of this game, there's not like anyone. Those people were just like random townspeople, so it's not like a. But it is an inside joke that all the townspeople's names are like the names of characters from his previous Castlevania games, which is, I think, funny.
It is good. Is it
Switch
just a straight Castlevania game, or is it?
Yo, this is like one of those Castlevania games he has made in the past. It's a little bit closer to like maybe the DS Castlevania games than Symphony of the Night.
Okay. Yes, yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
But that's not bad. Those are definitely still fun games on their own for sure. Even if I like Symphony of the Night better, I think that this is still a lot of fun. And especially once you get going and find some of the more ridiculous powers that exist in this game.
Yeah,
it really gets some stuff.
I like the familiar system. I don't know if you've gotten any of those yet, JJ.
Yeah, I got a couple.
So Andy, the magic in this is tied to a shard system. Think of materia systems in Final Fantasy games, say.
All right.
Where you have 5 slots to equip one each of 5 different color types of shard, and each one does something a little bit different. But one of the types is a familiar type. And you basically get a helpmate to come in and fight with you.
This little dude is just flying around on the screen all the time, and they like attack enemies or heal you or poke at stuff or fly around and be annoying. Generally, they fly around and be annoying, but they try to help sometimes. You got to applaud them for trying.
You just got to love the bad AI.
It's not the bad AI. It's just this thing is like, it's meant to assist you. It's not meant to do the work, right?
Right.
Okay.
You can't just lay back and let it kill the boss.
Well, you
Yeah.
shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Also, it would take like 50 years because those things don't do a ton of damage.
Truth.
Although I've heard maybe if you level them up a bunch. So, okay, what do you know about... So the shards can be leveled up, right?
Yes.
There's both an alchemy system for leveling them up, and then you can also collect multiples of them to make them stronger.
Yeah, there's a rank and a grade for each shard.
You-
and one of those goes up to 9.
I think
that's
both
the
of them
number.
go up to 9.
Okay, so they might both go up to 9. But one of them is how many copies of them you have, and then the other one is how strong it is.
Right. So it's like if you have 9 copies of something, it's going to be stronger than if you had 1. But a level 1 with 9 copies is going to be weaker than probably a level 9 with 1 copy? Or the effects might be
I'm
different.
not sure.
Unclear.
I think it depends. In some cases, the effects are different, because I know I just found one that increases your chances of crafting additional items when you craft something.
Oh, there's so much crafting in this game.
There's a big crafting system, too.
Hold on. I don't remember crafting being in Castlevania. Am I just bad memory?
I think that is part of what JJ means when he says it's more like the DS ones, because I believe at least one of those had crafting.
Any of the games that start with D and end with S. Dawn of Sadness.
Well, so there's several of them. I think there's Circle of the Moon and Aria of Sorrow, and then Dawn of Sorrow and Order of Ecclesia.
Was there really that many? Well, I guess the DS is a pretty long-lived platform overall.
There's both the DS and
3DS
ones.
Right?
Yeah. But the several of those games have systems like this where you had slots that you would get from enemies who would drop. They weren't shards, but they were something else. And you could equip them to do things like double jump or.
But that's just equipment stuff. That's not really like crafting per se.
No. They also dropped like swords and armor and stuff, and this is in addition to those.
Oh,
they were like souls or something in those games.
I do not remember that being in any of the Castlevanias I ever played.
You have been missing out. Those are cool things.
I believe,
but it definitely makes some of the progression in the game kind of strange.
Okay,
because you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I killed this boss, and he gave me the double jump shard." Right? You're like, "Okay, I know what a double jump is. I understand how this works. I know there's a bunch of places that I couldn't jump to before. Now I can get there." Right?
Yep.
That one is clear.
You marked them on your map. Time to go back.
Or it's hard to mark things on your map in this game. That's a bummer.
Well, you only get one style of marker for everything.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, so I can't mark
you can flood your map with marks.
Yeah, I just wish there was a way I could be like double jump here, some other crazy power here, ultra jump or something because this isn't high enough here,
Right.
And it's just been like, but some of these powers are really weird and like unusual from even those other games. Like I don't know how far you are, Michael.
So I just got the craft work that lets you grab things from the stained glass spider.
Okay, yeah.
That lets you grab and move certain objects.
Okay. Do you have the mirror power yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I've seen the mirrors lying around in certain rooms and figured that there was some future use coming up for them.
That thing is crazy. I got it, and now I'm like, I have no idea where I can go because the way this thing works is so weird and different from like the other movement in the game that I don't know what I do with this thing. Like what places can I get to now? It's harder for me to envision,
Sure, yeah.
So I'm really interested to see like what other crazy stuff they have because that craftwork one works in a bunch of really crazy ways already. You could use it to like grab obstacles that are blocking your way forward, but then you can use them to like hang and stuff. It's like kind of, you feel almost like you're cheating and floating in some ways using that thing. It's weird because like you can drag the obstacles, like they have like, oh, there's very clearly like a movable bookcase blocking this door, right?
Right.
Grab the bookcase, you drag it back, you can drag it onto a moving platform that then lifts the bookcase up to like a higher level or whatever. but you can hang off the edge of the moving platform and not be standing on the platform at all. You're just hanging on by the hand. It's very weird. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a bunch of like puzzling what you can do with that, which I thought was rad. But this thing, I have no idea what kind of stuff I'm going to solve using this thing.
Do they have a bunch of the movement stuff that you have to like really practice to do to actually do stuff? Like Castlevania had, like way back in the day, like if you jumped and then attacked on landing, you actually like kind of like moved further or whatever. Like you missed an attack animation, so you like attacked faster and moved further.
So this game does have what I think you're trying to explain, which is the like animation canceling on landing from a jump.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
So if you jump and like jump very short instead of like, you hold the button down longer, you jump higher, right?
Right.
But if you just do a really short jump and you attack, when your character lands, the like the backswing animation on the attack is canceled. And then you can hit attack again instantly when you land, and you can get like 2 quick sword hits out really fast. So like short jumping and attacking makes you attack faster, essentially.
Okay, did they?
But that is not like
learn that type of stuff.
Totally no. You can get by perfectly fine just sitting there crouching and hitting the attack button, which I do quite a lot.
Yep.
And there are shards that increase your attack speed.
Yes, which is great for like the two-handed weapons, which are slow.
Yes, I found one that the description on the shard is like weapons attack faster. I was like, oh, okay. So I equipped like, one of these big two-handed swords, and then it's hilarious watching them because they swing. They're like, yeah, and it's just like this giant sword swinging over your head every time.
Yeah.
Really cool.
What do you think, JJ, of the tech system? The weapon techs?
Oh, yeah. So this game has stuff that was also in Symphony of the Night, which I barely ever got into because in a lot of cases I didn't know it existed. That it seems like every weapon, I haven't gotten all the weapons, but I feel like I'm reading books and there's names of weapons I've never heard of in them.
Yes. Go ahead.
And like it shows you, it's like, hey, do like a quarter circle forward and the attack button, and the sword will do something crazy, like shoot a fireball or give you like this big sweeping motion or do some kind of like, long jump or something. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff that they've done.
So every one of the techs is locked into one of a handful of certain weapons that you have to equip to learn it. But every time you use it, you get mastery points. And once you master the tech, you can then you unlock it to use it on any weapon in that class.
Oh, so see, I didn't know that part.
It behooves you to master them as soon as you can. If it's a weapon class that you use a lot, then you'll be able to use it on any weapon in that class once you've mastered it.
So like I can use I don't remember which katana it is that has the cool attack slash, and then I just use that over and over, and then I can equip like an actual katana with good attack stats and use it on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
I also figured out just today by accident that if you enter the correct button combination for a tech, even if you haven't read the corresponding book, it'll show up in your tech list and you can use it.
So you can kind of guesstimate techs?
Well, so apparently there are 2 of them, one of which are exactly the same, except one of them has one more button press than the other. And so I was trying to do the long one because I had read the associated book for it and shorted the button inputs and performed the shorter one instead, and it added it to my tech list.
Wow.
Also, I think that if you just knew the inputs, I think it would just accept them.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to read the book. If you know the move, you can just input it as soon as you have a weapon that will let you learn it.
Yeah, and that's pretty similar to how it worked in Symphony of the Night, where like, hey, if you have this the Alucard sword, for instance, it lets you do like a teleport move and a backwards attack like 2 or 3 times, and then it teleports you back. And you didn't need anything. You just needed to have that sword and know that it could do that. There's nothing anywhere that tells you it works like that. It's just like a secret move or whatever. And this, at least in this one, they tell you some of the secret moves. The crazy one I found is, have you tried the one with the shoes?
What?
The spinning kick or the one where you can the like downward heel smash. I found two.
The spinning forward kick.
Yes,
You
I think
can
that's one of
chain
the
that.
first ones, up to 3 times. Yeah.
You can get really far forward in the middle of the air using that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I bet you can.
So you can input it in the air, and then so you jump, and at the height of your jump, use that kick to slide forward a bunch, probably to areas you're not supposed to get to without the double jump.
Ooh, now I want to see someone speedrun this.
Yeah, I totally believe that. Because like I'm sure there's other inputs on some of those shoes or the other early weapons that you don't know at that point that might be useful for this. But that one in particular seems like you could get some places that you probably shouldn't.
I'll make you a bet right now that you won't take, but AGDQ 2020 will have this game.
Oh yeah,
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah. The next speedrun thing they do will have this game because it seems like it's relatively popular. Also, it seems like there's going to be some crazy strats.
Yes.
Cool. And this game seems like it's probably very easy to get brokenly powerful at. It's like if you knew where to go and like which shard is super overpowered, you just like farm a guy until you get this one crazy shard and then you run around and murder everyone.
Well, there's also the 8, 16, and 32-bit coins. Have you found any of these yet?
You buy them, yeah. I definitely found one, and I bought like some weird lightning lightsaber thing, which has been cool, but I have now found a way sweeter sword than that.
Yeah, so Andy, there's a one particular item that you can find and or buy from the shops. They are Bitcoins, and they come in 8-bit, 16-bit.
They make you buy Bitcoin to play this game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this thing mining on your PC in the background? Have you checked?
Wasn't that their April Fool's joke?
I think so, actually, yeah. That's funny then.
But no, so they have an 8-bit coin, a 16-bit coin, and a 32-bit coin, and you can trade them in for, you trade in the 8-bit coin for a very low-level kind of janky weapon, and you might wonder, why am I trading in a limited item for this?
Actually, early on, those weapons are pretty powerful, and if you have enough money from the early stuff, just buying one of those will like be an instant upgrade for the first like couple hours.
Yeah, in the very early going, that is true. But as you get the higher tier coins, you can use them to upgrade those items into some really high-powered stuff.
Yeah, my issue is that I spend my money too much, and then I don't have any money left over to buy those coins. 16-bit and 32-bit ones are quite expensive.
Yes.
But I've just kind of been going nuts with the crafting, man. Like, there's so many shards you can level, and I heard today something that I don't know if I realized. It doesn't seem to tell me this anywhere. If you level some of the shards to max level, the passive ones, which are yellow?
Yes.
If you get one of those to level 9, it becomes a clear shard, and it's just
shard.
An on-off switch. And you just keep it forever. It's permanently active if you want it.
Yes, they do for the passive upgrade that it provides.
Got it.
So
if you don't tell you that somewhere.
Yeah, if you don't want to have resistance to petrification or bonus strength or something, you could turn it off. God knows why you would want to turn it off, but
yeah,
if you wanted to be weaker, I guess. But the ones I saw some people online talking about ways to farm money. You can get there's one that makes the candles and the like various lights and stuff drop coins worth more value.
Okay.
There's another one that increases your luck stat, and luck makes it drop nicer items. And there's some kind of shard that makes you run crazy fast, which I haven't found yet, but sounds cool.
Okay.
And you use all of those together. You get those two up to level 9, and then the crazy run speed one, and there's this one really long hallway with tons of candles in between it. Mm-hmm. And you just run up and down this hallway, and they're dropping like 100 and 500 coin candle from every candle that you run by, and it's just like zipping back and forth down the hallway, breaking every candle and making like 40,000 gold in 10 minutes or something.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, being like totally breaking the economy of the game. I have no idea how you get all those things because I haven't found I found the augment luck shard, but none of the other ones.
I don't think I have the augment luck one. I have a couple of the weapon power up ones.
Yeah, the attack speed one has been my favorite. The one I've kind of just kept on there the whole time now that I got it.
Yeah,
But I couldn't even tell you who I got it from because you just kill stuff and stuff shoots out of it. You know,
the compendium, the bestiary in this game is dangerous for me.
Oh, there's so many. Oh my god!
Because it's like, oh, there's another drop that this enemy has. I gotta farm it until I get it.
And there's definitely like multiple places I've already run into where it's like requires the so-and-so key to get through here.
Yep.
And you're like, oh god, now I have to come back. Like I already know there's more stuff over here. It's one thing if you see like, oh, I can't jump up there, Okay, it's like I'm gonna get the like double high jump or something, the triple jump or something that's gonna get me up there. I know about that. But when you just come to a place where it's like, well, you need a key. And you're like, okay, game.
I see what you're doing.
I see what you're doing over here. It's been really fun. On the subject of the Switch port, though, Andrew, you asked.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like any of this would be stuff that I would complain about. Like, it seems like much more than what I would have expected from a Castlevania game. Maybe a little bit intimidating, but nothing that I would see, like, people leaving a bad review about and be like, there's too much stuff in here.
Yeah, I don't know what those people are complaining about.
I don't think they are. I just wonder, like, why is it a 2-star Switch game on Amazon?
So the Switch port has problems. Technical ones. In that, if you compare the two games, right, obviously the Switch is less powerful. It's not going to look as good. Kind of was a given, right?
Okay.
That part doesn't bother me. I have a physical copy of the Switch game. By the way, so just to make it clear.
Well, I have a question about that at the end of this, but some people have ported their games that are demanding, and they just down-res the game a little bit to like 720, and
so they've definitely down-resed it. I don't know what to, but it's certainly quite a bit lower than the PC where I'm running it like up-resed above my monitor's highest resolution, and everything looks beautiful and amazing all the time. But the frame rate, man. It's painful in a few places. I've only played like the opening areas, but it is tough. There's some parts where like you get into the level up animation and a big swirly thing comes on the screen and tells you that you leveled up or whatever. That happens on the PC. It's intentional that it stops for a little bit when you hit the level up animation. But that's intentional. That's how it works on the PC also. That's just how the game is intended to work. It really stops on the Switch, though, man. It's letting you know. Hey, hold on here. Let me give you 2 frames. Okay.
Savor this level up.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I have heard reports that when you get to some of the busier and bigger rooms later in the game, that it really chugs. Which these are the kinds of things they can fix with time, hopefully some patches and stuff. Also, apparently, the initial release of the game, if you just put it in and play and you don't download the update, there's a progression breaking bug that is unfixable and will kill your game.
So what's the fix for that? I mean, like, you've got a hardware release of this in a cartridge. They can't patch all that possibly, can they?
The patch was out the day the game was available in hardware. So you had to plug it in and download the patch before you started playing.
Not just the game breaking thing, but the chugging and all that. How can they possibly fix that?
Yeah, you fix that with patches, man. That's the only way.
Oh man, that's going to be a rough go.
So they have apparently letters to the backers went out, or not letters, but emails to the backers and stuff, and said that they have heard people's complaints about the quality of the Switch port and that they are working on it. So I don't know what that means, but they sounded very contrite and sad, and that they were refocusing some of their development efforts to get the Switch port back up to snuff. So.
And I will say this is probably a good time to interject this. It is very nice to have my faith in a Kickstarter game actually pay off.
Totally.
Ours paid off last on the Battletech thing, but yeah, it seemed like they were headed down the possible road for there for a minute.
It was one of these where it was like a mega successful Kickstarter, right? Like Mighty Number 9 was, right? And just kind of like it was super successful back in the heyday of the Kickstarters. They kind of stopped doing them because of things that have happened since and some not delivering.
Or the Epic Store debacles where they have now changed what codes you can get.
Oh yeah. And, so people have kind of become wary of these Kickstarters and how they have delivered or not. And this one had been gone for a pretty long time. It originally came out and promised Wii U versions of these games, and 3DS versions and PlayStation Vita versions.
No,
obviously none of which are going to happen. And they made that clear to the backers a long time ago. It gave you the option to change your keys to other platforms or get refunds at that time. So, they made good, but they've been gone a long time. And it's just good to see that they actually came out with a game that is fun to play and feels like the thing they promised.
Yeah.
Which I feel like one of these Kickstarters needed a win.
This one definitely delivers.
Yeah, so I've been having a great time, and I'm excited to play more, probably, later tonight.
So it's a PC port only kind of suggestion from us right now, maybe?
I am told the PlayStation and the Xbox versions are good. I haven't played it, so I don't know. But people seem to be okay with those versions. It's really only the Switch one that people seem to have issue with.
Okay.
For now, hopefully they'll fix it up, and then it'll be play wherever. Because this game is the kind of game you definitely could pick up and play for 20 minutes, find a save point, shut it down.
Right. Good. Seems like you would want to play it on a Switch. Like a lot of stuff that we've been talking about seems like, I could see myself playing Castlevania in 20-minute chunks. Sure, put it on my Switch.
Yeah.
You don't even have to find a save point.
It's like a Metroidvania.
Oh right, yeah. There's a suspend.
There's
right?
There's like a single use save system.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot about that. I have never used that, and I should.
Handheld. You do it. It does it automatically when it's handheld. You wouldn't know that.
Oh, I meant that the game has a single-use save inside it. You could do it with the PC also. I just have forgotten that the system exists.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Right on. Man. We tried some games on the stream, just so people know. There's video out there of us playing Portal 2 while JJ was gone last week on YouTube. Some World of Warcraft stuff also. I think we've kind of run out of time for talking about games today, but there's a lot more to talk about next week, I'm sure. We didn't even do any news. It's a lot. It's always a lot.
Just a lot. Hey, by the time this comes out, I just have to mention Stranger Things. It's coming out soon.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that soon.
Okay, can we do a podcast on that? Just like a Stranger Things only podcast?
Probably, yeah.
I'm sure we'll have enough to talk about.
We're going to watch it real fast over here, I'm sure, because that's one of those things that will not... It's like an open bag of Oreos. It's not going to live long over here.
Word.
You know what I mean? Like, if you just leave it on the counter, well, they'd go stale if we don't eat them.
Yeah. I have a feeling.
Just one more.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we'll be doing some of that over here, too. So,
okay.
Yeah, there will be a Stranger Things podcast coming sooner or later.
Right?
Sooner.
Yeah, sooner. Yeah. Keep an ear out for that. Keep an ear out for our Star Trek pods, sub-pods on the feed and on YouTube. You can find us anywhere on the internet at We Were Gamers. And until then, go be a vampire. What are you in Bloodstained? Are you a vampire?
No.
You are a shard binder.
Yes.
Shard binder.
Basically, you are a manufactured demon hunter.
Why are you stained in blood if you're not a vampire?
Shards are bad, okay? That's kind of what I've gleaned about the story thus far.
Got it.